it also causes kind of destruction to the economy, property as well in the long run.
하나는 시집이다. 얘기 가서 얘기가 좋고 순간 하나 조보다 가보시 두드려야 돼. 여자 공동한 얘기 15주년 얘기도 봤어.
In the same way, our companies, the people that we are surrounded are a source of our happiness. And but we destroy our friendship, we destroy our relationship, by cultivating afflictive emotion, and then under the influence of these afflictive emotions such as attachment, anger, jealousy, and so forth, hatred, and so forth, we often engage into certain kind of action. We often engage into negative action that kind of causes, destroys our friendship and relationship, and turns love, understanding and respect, and so forth.
난 공로를 자잖아. 사단으로 지내다 소소 조보다 정보다 가로 가리 공로 지나는데 깨지치 도매지기 15 참고 얘기도 깨지치 도매지기 되는 거 남도 11만 되기도 왔어.
Let's say, for example, among the friends, let's say we are with our friends. Let's say when we are with our friends, when we are with our husband, with our wife, due to small reason, let's say when you say certain things in a way that is not very polite, it doesn't sound polite, based on his or her own view, based on his or her own understanding of the expression of thing that you have mentioned. So it's very minor things can sometimes cause or destroy the friendship, can destroy the relationship as well.
아니 지 남도로 시고 그래서 파종하는 친구들 대중을 친구들 된대지는 용도로 못 받게 들었어.
And these whenever these negative things happens within ourselves, and then we plus what we do is we ejaculate these activities, and then we develop more, we aid or develop more afflictive emotion, and then that finally cause more kind of problem within ourselves, within our friendship, in the relationship between husband and wife, as well as in the relationship between our friends.
아침에 남도 친구 여러분 제가 그냥 얘기하면 또 봤어.
If you try to search, if you try to search into these afflictive emotions, these negativities or negative emotions, and there's nothing you can really find out and say this is the reason. This is something that you need to for which you have to really get angry, or for which you really have to fight for people, fight with others.
다 되게 코로 생각도 막 자원의 방향이 공로 되셔도 무슨 방향이 좋아. 이 자원의 방식이 굳이 다주고
So we did talk about how we can overcome the method. We did talk about the methods of overcoming those more kind of grosser form of afflictive emotions. But if we talk about the method that can overcome our subtle form of emotion, as well as to overcome the subtle emotion completely, and then it's something that can be done if one is able to achieve the arahatship. Arahat is the Sanskrit term. Is the person who has eliminated all the afflictive emotion, and that includes its imprint as well. And arahat is, in other words, arahat is somebody who has freed himself or herself from some cyclic existence. So those beings are the beings who have managed to eliminate even most subtly afflictive emotion from their mind.
다 그도 사별도 제법 방발라 아니 상호 동반이 있어 또 동이 있어.
So in order to
다이 엄마 탄주에 있어서 막 사별도 제법도 방발라 아니 탄주에 나와 되는데 돈이 또
in order to eliminate the most subtle afflictive emotion that includes the seed of the afflictive emotion, then one must be able to realize the most profound meaning of emptiness. If one is able to realize the meaning of the most profound emptiness, the meaning of the profound emptiness, then one can eliminate the subtle emotion as well as the seeds of the subtle emotions.
그래서 딱 말하죠. 돈이 또 가지고 이제 가서는 돈이 되게 로초 된지 있습니다. 같은 거 된지 있습니다. 그래서 용어 탐지 전에 자와도 뜬거 된지 있습니다.
And the reason why we say that one must be able to realize the meaning of the profound emptiness is because by cultivating the wisdom, realizing profound the emptiness, one can cut the root cause of our pain and suffering, which is known as self-grasping mind, or self-cherishing as well as self-grasping mind, which is the root cause of our pain and suffering.
근데 다 다른 만들어 가요라요 콩으로 생기죠. 콩으로 더 아제도 아주 가요라요 가르 큰 시슈지 있어요.
So we visualizing that we have to work with these afflictive emotions, because these grosser form of afflictive emotions, such as a very strong form of attachment and jealousy, hatred, ignorance. So these are the root cause, in general, root cause of our pain and suffering and problem that we encounter in our daily life.
但이제 콩으로서 이제 중국 단야리야. 아니 장바다 인지도 양내에 양의 고부이나 안 고런시 콩으로 중국이지 그래서.
So 콩도 그런 식으로
콩도 빼는 콩도 같이 잡으려나. 더 콩도도 먼저 중국 단야 탐문도 가르쳐서는 장바다 인지 고문이 콩도 중국이야 탐문지냐 그래서.
So in the case of the methods, in the case of how one can overcome this afflictive emotion, let's say for example such as anger, and then anger can be overcome or can be eliminated gradually by the practice of cultivation of the love and compassion. In other words, more you are able to cultivate or develop love and compassion, you will be able to remove or lessen the anger, lessen the anger, and then finally will be able to, of course, eliminate the anger as well.
나 기대 드르게 냠내 제방도 보이느냐 코드 예미를 여냐는 양에 따나 양 콩도야 총도야지 그래서.
And also another method or means to overcome or to eliminate anger is, if you study more about the negative aspects of anger or negative results of anger, then of course it kind of it will kind of vanish. You will be able to eliminate anger as well. More you are able to discover the negative aspect of anger and negative results of anger, then of course it will diminish by itself.
야 전적이 로중도 분리를 당면도나 야 sem 고수도 마요하는 양 대수 지는 코는 좀 그래서.
sem 고야고지.
sem 고수도 마셔. sem 고수도 마셔 당은 좀 되는 양 그래서 양 코는
Also, there is another method to overcome or eliminate the anger is that if you try to be more happy, if you try to have more open-minded, and then more open-minded, then it will also help to eliminate. It will also help to remove or lessen your anger. More you have open-minded, you will develop less anger.
아니 그래서 이제 연구면도나 콘도 나야를 깨는 맞춰버지네요.
And also the one more method to overcome anger is to stay away from the causes and conditions that give rise to anger. If you stay away from the causes and conditions, he's saying these methods because if you are not able to cultivate love and compassion, if you are not able to discover the negative aspect or negative result of the anger, then these are more simple the method that can kind of help to eliminate anger for temporarily. So if you avoid yourself from the causes and conditions that give rise to anger. And that's also can be considered one simple method that can help you overcome your anger.
아니 마탈이네야 쇼게야 라는 니마르를 쇼게야 나바탄 지금 내가 가르치는 게 주도사 당연 공동이지 않다 공동이지 않아서 삼별 찬수디 이하는 참 망고들 단계에나 진짜게 공동 많이 변도심.
And also one more method that you can adopt, apply is if you every morning when you wake up in the early morning, if you always generate the mind and say that today I will not get angry, today I will try my best not to develop anger. And it will, of course, help. Very often. If you do it very often, then of course it will also have its own positive impact, and you will be able to, prevent anger from arising.
양 그걸 강행들이 채워줘서 막 강행을 보는 지혜가 상관들이 단계에는 공부 좀 그랬어.
그렇지.
조신지혜지구나.
And also, the one more method to overcome anger is if you are able to develop the sense of what you call fortitude. The fortitude, it's like kind of patience. The fortitude, is it right? To do it, if you, in other words, if you are able to develop the sense of endurance to experience pain and suffering, to experience hardship, to experience difficulties. And then of course that's kind of also this kind of positive emotion will help reduce or eliminate anger as well. When you develop anger, when you are not able to face, not able to accept, not able to endure the problems or the suffering that is caused by certain things, and then you tend to get more angry. So more you're able to develop this sense of endurance or fortitude to encounter, to accept the problems. And that will also help eliminate the anger as well.
나가는 시 도샤스는 또 충분하냐. 다 호모편의 차별 도샤도 충분하냐. 그냥 메자벨 기토는 상담하는데 그냥 노출을 그랬어.
Also the method to eliminate or to minimize at least or reduce attachment, physical, mainly the kind of sexual attachment, I should say, the attachment that arises by viewing someone as very, very beautiful, very, very attractive. So that leads to develop very strong form of attachment that kind of makes you wanting really bad. So this kind of attachment can be eliminated, can be reduced if by reflecting the negative aspect of the opposite sex, negative aspect of the opposite sex, such as the very such as its impurity of the body. So more you are able to reflect on the impurity of the body's opposite sex, of the body of the opposite sex, it will of course minimize, lessen. It will also help you eliminate, your strong form of attachment that you are developing towards the opposite sex.
나가는 시 뇌주 초식이 양면들의 상담단계에야 실하게 변도시 보여야 돼.
뇌주 초식.
뇌주 초식.
뇌주 노론. 뇌주 노론.
뇌바중. 뇌중.
Okay, 그 조직이.
뇌중 초식 또 상담단계에야 자고가 실하게 변도시.
And also another method to overcome the attachment is to develop a sense of contentment, or to develop sense of self-satisfied, or to be happy with whatever one have.
딱 한들 삼류 계속해서 근데 야바도 두고 좀 뭐시마시. 삼류 계속 두고 나는 뭐지 투가 자동기 아니 semnang 시다기 이유です. 누구를 변도시 보여야 돼.
Also, if you are able to identify the positive aspect and the negative aspect of the mind, and say these are negative, these emotions of the mind are negative or destructive, and these emotions are positive or constructive. Then of course the understanding of the positive or negative aspect of the mind can itself be the remedy, or be the tools, or be the method to afflictive emotion to some extent. Just by understanding these, positive, knowing or understanding the positive aspect as a destructive, a positive aspect as a constructive, and negative aspect of the mind as a destructive. This very understanding will of course, will already have lessened these emotions from arising. So kind of time is running out. It's almost we are supposed to stop 1:30, but we have gone a little bit farther, and time is running up. So if I think Vishal is going to stop here. If you have any questions, you can raise.
Earlier you talked about gross afflictive emotions and subtle afflictive emotions, and could you give an example of what is a subtle afflictive emotion as opposed to a gross afflictive emotion?
Very good question. And concurrency of this, Vishal Dingone, Sam Nemo Rapada, Nemo Tawas, the sources, and Nemo Tawas in the original position, Nemo Rapas in the original position. Nemo Kali, Nemo Tawas, Rapat, Kaji Mukaji Tawas, Rapas, Nemo Tawas in the original position, Nemo Rapas in the original position.
Nemo Rapas, Tanda Nadu Kidia,
The afflictive emotion. The afflictive emotion that which are arising within our mind, that we the afflictive emotions arising within our mind. I should say, those afflictive emotions that we are able to identify as afflictive emotions can be considered grosser form of afflictive emotions. Those grosser form of afflictive emotions are emotions that we are able to identify as afflictive emotions. It's very manifest. This is very evident. It's very obvious as a destructive emotions. And this can be considered or categorized as a grosser form of afflictive emotion. Afflictive emotion, in other words, you can say afflictive emotion, the grosser form of afflictive emotions are recognized, grosser form of afflictive emotions are identified or recognized as destructive emotion, not only by Buddhists, but it's also recognized or identified as destructive emotion by non-Buddhists as well, by in a general, by everybody, as destructive emotions. And the more, of course, when we talk about subtle, we can talk different levels, but the most subtle afflictive emotions are only by, discovered or identified, are able to recognize or identified only by those spirit beings, such as beings who have been studying and who have developed realizations, such as the beings in studying and practicing the highest tenets, like such as Prasangika school. Those school, the beings studying in those studying or following those tenets, those schools, such as Prasangika, can recognize, can identify those such afflictive emotion as destructive, something that leads to pain and suffering as a result somehow. Any more questions? No more question?
Lots of questions.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions, but nothing specific right now.
Okay. It's not drama, it's a misconception. Okay, and then I think we can that's your best because
다 용모도 방향을 잡아두다 제 자주 남는 시는 제 기부도 통해야 합니다. 기부 친구를 남긴다. 근데 기부 드린다. 기부 총무다. 기부 드린다. 기부 친구. 맨날 하나서 있는 용모라 봐도 되잖아요. 기부 총무는 냐면은 가야 용모라 봐도 시작됐어.
기분 좋은 점을
이게 주고 사실은 이게 주는 거라 말했어.
So we did talk about the afflictive emotions and in general. And if you want to study more about the methods that can overcome afflictive emotions, you can study Buddha's teaching or Buddhist scriptures. There are many different types of or levels of Buddhist scriptures that explains different methods to overcome different afflictive emotions, different levels of afflictive emotions, and such as the text known as Lamrim as well. In the Lamrim, the path, the stages of the path leading to liberation or enlightenment, talks about the different methods to overcome different levels of afflictive emotions, and also such as the Lamrim also talks about the simple method that can help us overcome grosser form of afflictive emotions. The Lamrim also talks about a little bit higher subtle form of subtle method or higher method that can help us overcome more kind of subtle form of afflictive emotion. Also, Lamrim talks about or describes, explains the methods, highest level of method that can eliminate the more subtle form of afflictive emotions as well. And so, if you say what are the grosser form of afflictive emotion, and then we can in general we can talk about the 10 unwholesome actions, the negative emotions that leads us to engage into 10 unwholesome actions. These are considered very grosser form of afflictive emotions. And so in order to overcome those grosser form of afflictive emotions or avoid or prevent those afflictive emotions, there are methods spoken in Lamrim that you can apply to overcome those afflictive emotions.
기부 중에 내가서 텔레테스 용어다 단위 주다 이제 주나 해도 기부 중이 줘. 군중이 내가 군중이 내가 사실도 군중 텔레테 창시 그래서.
Also the afflictive emotions, most form of subtle afflictive emotions, which is the object of abandonment by the person who is considered the medium, medium mental faculty, person who possesses medium mental faculty. The methods are known as we talk about
기부 중에 내가서 기부 중에 내가서 봐 단위 주다 이제 주로서 용어나 시 대방들을 가지고 기부 중에 내가
oh yeah, I'm sorry, I lost my concept. The little bit subtler form of afflictive emotion compared to the afflictive emotion that leads to engage into the 10 unwholesome actions. These subtle form of afflictive emotions are such as 6 root afflictive emotions and 20 secondary afflictive emotions. And we can talk about many types of afflictive emotions. So the methods to overcome these more subtle form of afflictive emotions are taught, spoken in the Lamrim, which are to be practiced, or which are to be studied and practiced by the person with the medium mental scope.
기부 친구에 내가라 대래 차에 뭐 처음 남자도 내가 하동 내가서 그래서 조시 제일 대반장 좀
And when Lamrim talks about the methods and object of abandonment by the person with highest mental scope, and then the person with highest mental scope or faculty, then they talk about most subtle form of afflictive emotions, and they Lamrim also talks about the highest level of method that can help them overcome their most subtle form of afflictive emotions.
다 상황을 도시 태백가서 대외 경향 관찰되는 세 도로다 좀 시부들이 방송 좀 가지고 좀 그랬어요.
Also, if you go further, then if you study tantra, and then they also identify most subtle form of afflictive emotions, which is not really discussed in Sutrayana. You know, the most subtle form of afflictive emotion, which is not really discussed in Sutra, that you can find in Tantra, and also Tantra explains the most highest level method that can overcome or eliminate the most subtle form of afflictive emotions.
제가 산예의 첫 번째 지시도 송유와 산예의 첫 번째 지시도 송유 탐제의 묘무의 제시도에서 뒤차는 인고의 산예의 첫 번째 지시도 송유했어요.
So in general, we learn from Buddha's teaching or Buddha's scripture that Buddha taught 84,000 volumes of teaching, 84,000 volumes of teaching or scriptures. He taught 84,000 volumes of scripture or teaching as an antidote against those 84,000 negative emotion or afflictive emotion arises within our mind.
대래도 첫 번째 지시도의 탐제의 인고수 되거나 아니 견디수도
And if we summarize the teaching of 84,000 scriptures, and then we can talk about, we have the text known as Jung-Geridism, that is known as Jung. I don't have complete English word, but there's a text known as Jung-Geridism. Boom niti tigetomba. Boom means the scripture contains the 12 the scriptures, 12 book, you know, the Tibetan scripture like this. This is one script. What do you call it?
Goddesses?
Goddesses? No, you know, you see the Tibetan.
Just books.
The
Big long books.
Yeah, long book. Yeah. It's the Boom is considered Tumuchungi. The teaching known as Boom in Tibetan has 12 long books, which is spoken directly by Buddha. There are also the teaching known as Niti. In other words, Niti means 12,000. It has 3 long book. So then also the 12 long book is summarized into Trungvada. 3 long book. The essence of the 12 long book is summarized into 3 long book, and the Gedamatra. And the essence, and again the essence of the 3 long book summarized into the 1 book known as Getama. You know, so it's kind of more summarized one after another. So we got 3 levels of, or 3 types of, 3 sections of the long books. One contains 12 long books. And then the essence of those teachings are summarized into 3 long books. And among those, again, the essence are summarized into 1 long book. Now that's known as Jung getting this. It is the teaching spoken at the Buddha turned at the second time of the will of Dharma. I think we discussed this one time in our Lamrim classes. It's the text known as perfection of wisdom. Perfection of wisdom.
다 예를 들어서 그 된다 용수소 같은 지수도 싫어하는 거는
And if we, the essence or the ultimate meaning of the perfection wisdom is again summarized into the Heart Sutra. The Heart
싫어하는
Sutra.
거 된다 수두서나 된다 대조도 어디거나 저거도 디야다 가데 파라상가데 부디는 두샤베스.
And if we summarize the essence of the Heart Sutra, and then we can say the mantra that we recite when we read the Heart Sutra, the Tyata Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Asoha, we read 3 times here in the chanting. So that is the essence of the Heart Sutra. And Heart Sutra is the essence of the perfection of the wisdom sutra.
디야다 가데 파라상가데 부디서 나 통도 되게 나라 아니 사다 람다 신나고 너무 용도 되는 데리어스.
So when the mantra, the Tyata Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Soha, it contains it contains the essence of Buddha's teaching, which is in general we say Shilam Desam, that means basis. I think I talked about this earlier. Basis, basis, and like a basis as a true conventional and ultimate truth, as a basis, conventional truth and ultimate truth, and the method, true aspect of method, a wisdom aspect, and loving compassion is one hand, and then as a result, the final true result, as the true form of Buddha's body, wisdom body, and the Dharma body. So all these teachings are summarized into this one line mantra, the Gati Gati Paragati Parasama.
제가 맞은 넘버 참아게 디야다 가데 파라가데 시리시다 다치 붙이는 거 용도
So this is the mantra this is the reason, or therefore that we all the Buddhists disregarding, even regardless of the little bit minor differences, but we all say this mantra on all Buddhist nation, Buddhist schools, Buddhist practitioners in different world or different country believe in this mantra and say this mantra in our daily life because it contains all the essence of Buddha's teaching. So he will stop here, and thank you very much, and I'd like to say again, Tashidale, good luck in your study and practice.
야와 대다 담제